Welcome back to part 2, Just Jocelyn. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and we have Miss Rebecca Packard. And make sure you watch part 1 because it talks about all the issues and what's going on in the world and where the sense of frustration is coming from. But now in part 2, let's talk about all the different modalities and different ways that you can play around with, and because it is, I'm not making fun of that, but play around with and find what is best for you, what works with who you are. And a lot of people can say, you know, this is just ridiculous. And this, how many times when you were a child, and I remember this 14, 15, 16, very specifically, and I remember it happening earlier, but 14, 15, 16, that I'd be going to school and I'd be walking to the bus stop and go, nope, not today. And there would be like warning, warning, don't stand here, go tell mom to drive you or something. Mm-hmm. And it didn't happen very often, but when it did, it was very, very strong. And twice that happened to me in about a 3-4 year, the bus had an accident. Mm-hmm. There have been times when, you know, I wanted to go to a certain store and I got in the parking lot and I parked and I get ready to get out of my car and I go, nope, I need to go to so-and-so. Mm-hmm. And I'd argue with myself. And a couple of times I'd actually go in and something would happen. They wouldn't have what I wanted, or the electricity went off, or just something weird. Not huge. So I learned, nope, go over to this store, and I'd end up finding a great sale. Mm-hmm. Or there'd be like, wow, I really wanted to try this, and it's here. So it's a part of you that's called your pineal gland. Mm-hmm. And with all this fluoride and garbage that's in our air and our water and food, it becomes calcified and it doesn't work. And it's your, how do you want to describe it? It's the part of you, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's the seat of your intuition.
Thank you. I was like, I can't think of the word. Yeah. Your intuition, the thing that says, yep, that's okay to do. Nope, don't do that. That's kind of stupid. Why don't you wait a minute, or that's not very nice. Mm-hmm. So when that all calcifies up and you become that person that, you know, just gets on that wheel and works 40 hours a week and 48 hours a week, and well, if I go 54, it's going to be even better. And then you look at your paycheck and go, oh my God, they took more taxes out, but your pineal gland is all messed up. So you go, okay, well, I'll work another 8 hours, or I'll get a second job. Or, you know, I'll send my kids to more babysitters or to childcare. Meanwhile, you get caught up in this insanity and you can't get out of it because you have no intuition.
Mm-hmm. You're rat race.
You're in the rat race.
We call it a rat race.
For a reason.
Jokingly, people say, welcome to the rat race.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're looking at in every phase of our life right now. And so when we say, meditate, that is a chance for your brain to reset, reformat, and say, wait a minute, I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to drive to 7 games today with my kids. I'm not going to do this, this, and this. And it's not being lazy, which is what they try to tell you you are. Mm-hmm. It is simply saying, wait a minute, I need to sit in my house with my kids and have a meal, prepare it together, or let's go in the backyard and play a game, or let's go swimming, or let's run through the sprinklers, or let's ride bikes. Mm-hmm. Not get on this treadmill and drive 20 miles, unload the bikes, put them all together to go down some path, someplace, somewhere, and hope that you don't get caught in a storm or, you know, eaten by a bear. And I guess I'm being a little ridiculous, but when you can do all of this where you are, where you can have the same fulfillment and the same joy, but have a calmness and not be in the rat race. Those are the very basics. When you need to become more finite, you go into tapping, you go into meditation, you go into frequencies, which again, on your channel and many channels, you can download a frequency. While we're on frequencies, explain to us how the frequencies were changed. Such music, they changed the megahertz to where it's not what it used to be.
It used to be a law, an actual law that you only played in specific tunes. And they knew that bell frequencies, music frequencies, one of the reasons that like Mozart and these different Chopin and like all these different people who played specific music, they're still a thing today because they played in specific tunes. They played in specific notes, and it affects you in a way that like when you hear it, you're like, oh. And now, and yes, I get it, because some of you are going to be like, free speech. Yes, free speech, fantastic. But also, when you go to a certain type of concert, let's go there. We're going to go to a certain type of concert. You go to a country concert, people are pretty chill, laid back. You go to, I don't know, a Taylor Swift concert, people are pretty chill and laid back. They're having fun, right? You go to a metalhead concert, people are punching each other out. They are kicking each other on purpose. And people say, oh, well, that's just, and it's funny because it's the people who don't believe in this. It's the energy of the room. It's what's expected. It's in the music. You have no idea how right you are.
Right. You're actually validating what we're saying.
You're validating everything we're saying because it is. Because the frequency is triggering anger and rage and hatred and discontent and disconnection and dis-ease on purpose.
Yep. And you're paying for it.
And you're paying for it.
And somebody gets hurt.
Thought it was fun.
Yeah. And all in the name of
entertainment.
Right. And all in the name of you liked it, it's great, yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the scariest thing, that when they changed the frequencies and the megahertz in some of the music, and again intentionally on the radio and stuff, just changing it. And I have a friend, Stiletto, and she just released her first album. She's going to be releasing a second one, and they recorded 100% with the understanding that it would be healing, soothing frequencies that do not destroy the DNA, that do not agitate the body and the soul and everything that it is. It may not be your cup of tea, and that's fine, but that was the intent, and it's there.
And it's been studied for thousands of years. Not the last 10, not the last 20, and not when the 60s were taking place. It's been studied for thousands of years. You see the Tibetan monks, you see like
Cambodian
go to
monks,
Arabia, go to different places, go to, like Cambodian monks. You see, go to churches in Germany that are from like the 12th century. You have stonework that was put a specific way so that when music was played, or when hymns were sung, or when spoken word was said, it resonated in a specific way.
For you.
For you.
In you.
To move you.
Correct.
And your
Vibrate
being.
you. Yep. Now, bells. You may be wondering why we have the bells, but here's a little bell. It has a pitch. You listen, it does something to your ear, and if you just focus and close your eyes, you'll know whether you like it or you don't like it. What does it create? What feeling? You get this one. Well, we also have bells that were in the churches for years and years and years. Well, come World War II, 9,000 bells across the world
Were melted.
in the name of we need them for guns and artillery. And it was to destroy the healing frequency, what that sound, what that resonance did to you in church, or just walking through your town and the bells would ring, the joy it would bring people. Go into a belfry, and they do it in Wyndham. I'd love to find a couple other places where you can ring the bell on very specific days. They have bells in certain countries where you stand inside of it, and they tap it, and it's a healing frequency. It resets your body. It makes everything work together. And I'm not saying, you know, if your arm fell off and you go in a bell, it's going to grow back on.
You're not a gecko.
No. We're talking about the healing of the soul, the healing of the body, where everything goes in sync and you're breathing and your heart is at the correct rate and your blood pressure's where it needs to be.
Your meridians are focused, opened. You're a clean channel.
And go ahead.
Yeah, you can put those. YouTube's my favorite place. You all understand that at this point. If you've seen me before, because it's a free resource. You can get frequencies on YouTube that are specifically resonances, that are specific frequencies for the different chakras, that are specific frequencies to raise your vibration, that are for specific frequencies to heal your body, whole heart healing, soul healing, all these different things. And when people say, oh, well, I just don't have time for that, you can turn this on, put it like 2 clicks above audible, so it's not like raging, but it's just emitting, and put it on, your phone that you carry everywhere all the time, and put it on your desk and just let it play.
Yep.
How hard is that? You be working about, running in the rat race, and that's doing what it needs to do. Or you can put it on a relaxation or a focus or a whatever. They have studied college students for decades about putting on different music, different frequencies, like why they have a whole study on Mozart and these different everything, and how it helps them to focus and do better on their work and their test scores and all these different things. So we know it works. So you don't have to fight it. And if you're not into it, great, cool, don't be, but don't pee in someone else's Cheerios if they are.
Correct.
Because it works.
And they wouldn't be burying it and covering it up and working at it so hard that we don't know about this.
So fun fact.
Okay.
Go to most churches, most government buildings, or most historical sites and look at the different areas where you believe you're looking at a pine cone. You'll see a pine cone. It's not a pine cone, it's your pineal gland.
Yep. And it's right there in front of you, in the architecture.
And it's right there being the focal point of what they're talking about. And it's always covered in gold.
Yep. And, you know, when you say be true to yourself, little golden pineal gland.
You can look up frequencies to clean your pineal gland on YouTube.
Yep.
Like so many things. Like raising your vibration will do it. So just clapping your hands. Like, yes, people are going to be like, oh, you need this, or you need that, or you need to do this, or you need to sit underneath the Sagittarius moon on a corn afternoon. Like, cool, you can do all those things. They do exist, but you don't have to. You can ring your grandmother's bell and change the frequency or bring life back to a dead corner of your house where you've just had tons of clutter. I guarantee you, fun game. You got clutter in your house, start ringing bells. That clutter will fix itself fast because it's dead space. And so ringing the bells puts in a frequency. Frequency is life. Life won't stay stagnant. It is constantly moving and evolving. You'll clean your house in no time. But you can use bells, you can use spoons, you can clap your hands, you can get expensive crystal bells, you can just get a wind chime.
Yes.
You can
love wind chimes.
just get a simple bell at the Goodwill. The other thing is intention. I don't have a bell, but right now my intention is that I call in the bells to clear the energy of the space or to raise the vibration and frequency of this space. Intention is everything. Which is why for centuries, everyone focused on prayer as intention. Why would they call an entire country together when the king was dying? Everybody pray for the king.
Because the intention
is everything.
Yeah. So
I know that sounds crazy, but it's true.
no, it is. It's just that we've all been manipulated and trained to call it woo-woo.
Right.
To say it's hocus pocus, to say, it doesn't exist. And yet it exists in every single solitary place we go.
Every religion uses bells. I don't know. Well, I won't say that. 97% of religions use bells, candles, music. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I played baseball, I'd be winning.
Absolutely. So explain this phrase, raising your vibration. A lot of people don't know what it means, or they interpret it a whole bunch of different ways. What is the whole basis of that? What is it, and why would we do it?
So you can Google an emotion chart, a vibration chart, and you'll see thousands of them pop up, and they'll show you where emotions live on a chart of frequency and what hertz, what megahertz, and all the different things that can go into that, depending on what you're looking for.
Right.
Also colors that fall into these different spaces. Everything has a frequency. Everybody has a frequency. When you're happy, you're at a higher frequency. When you're sad, you're at a lower frequency. You're not going to be happy all the time. And that's okay. We're humans. We're here having a human experience doing people things. But if you're like, man, I really just want to I need my energy to change, you can change your frequency. So you can stand in nature. That raises your frequency. You can listen to nature sounds. That raises your frequency. You can ring bells. That raises your frequency. You can, and it sounds ridiculous because we're going to Peter Pan, you can think happy thoughts. Look, people are making billions of dollars on affirmations, not because they thought it'd be cute, but because it works. And there's scientific proof from hundreds of universities around the world that support if these people repeat these patterns things over and over and over again during a certain amount of time, it changes who they are.
Think positive.
Think positive, have gratitude, play positive music, shut off negative things.
Yeah.
Things that are negative will pull your vibration into a negative space.
Right.
Because really great way to think about this is, have you ever walked into a room and you're like, ugh?
Yeah.
Because somebody in the room is like, and you're like, ugh. And immediately you just go, like you were like, and now you're like, that's because their frequency just sucked the life out of the room.
An energy vampire.
And so if you come in and you're like, I'm not going to allow anything to affect my energy, and my intention is to raise the vibration of the room, and you walk in, you're like, yay! And then all of a sudden that person is like, oh, rainbows and sunshine, I love you, hi. And then up they come to your frequency.
So we all need to be working together, which was the original plan. Original for schools and coming together and being friends, was to support each other. Support each other. Not commiserate with each other, support each other.
Right.
Raise your friend up.
Right.
Raise your family up. Everybody look for the positive. And it isn't, it isn't weird. It's just there is so much negativity around us and so much dumped and manipulation on us to not succeed, to not be a better person, to not get along.
Well, and our fight or flight response. So we are a human being having a human experience, and we have these core archaic programs within us of survival. And so they carry their own frequency. And so our subconscious mind and our conscious mind are kind of like hanging out together. But our subconscious mind is always like, my focus is to stay alive. My focus is to stay alive. So negative things, if I find something negative, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to focus on it because I need to stay alive. And
Right.
knowing what that negative thing is, I can stay alive even with that. And so you almost have a little kleptomaniac in there collecting all the trash.
I'm prepared.
Right. Thinking it's prepared,
But
it's not. It's actually just a hoarder. And you need to make it clean out the trash because your conscious mind needs to focus on, okay, how do I balance this out and not collect the negativity that little squirrel is going around getting. And I need to balance that out. Okay, so let's try and clean out the negativity and let's bring in the positivity. And that can be hard because we've all grown up in different situations. We've all been raised by different humans. We've all had different things happen to us. And some people say, oh, well, I just can't because. And some people just don't want to.
Yep.
And that's totally fine. But everybody has a choice. And everyone has the right to choose to or not to. So at any point, you can say, well, I love you so much, abusive human in my life, but your boundaries are here and I'm over here. Or this situation is over here and I'm going to choose to be over here. It's a very funny thing in the world of television, social media, all these different areas where chaos is congratulated. How crazy can you get? That's absurd. It's a circus. Well, I love the saying, not my circus, not my monkeys. Like, yeah, I'm done. Like, no.
I think that comes from EMS.
And we've all lived in that space for a bit, but some of us went, that's
I don't
pure
like it.
chaos.
Yep.
Like, I know that, like, by God, they're just different things that people are going to do differently, and that's fine. But I am not a rush household. I am not a hurry up household. I am a, hey, school starts at this time. You need to make sure your things are out the night before. You need to make sure your breakfast is eaten by this point in time. You need to make sure that this happens. And then you're able to do these things, which are entertainment, so that then you can get on the bus at an appropriate time. I am not a, oh, we forgot this, we forgot that, a screaming chaos kind of person. That does nothing for my life. And I don't want to train my children to think that that's okay.
Right.
Because that is stress. That is chaos. That is crazy town. And there's no stability in that space.
Correct.
You're just throwing and emitting emotion and chaos and purging all over the place. And if you do that every single day, think about what life is. So if you're a hurry up person, I love you, but start meditating, start grounding, start doing breath work, start ringing bells, start thinking positive thoughts, because your chaos, your crazy, your disconnection is really trauma, anxiety, depression, also disconnection. And a lot of the time it's avoidance. What are you trying not to have to look at? What are you trying not to have to see? What are you trying not to do? you have to reevaluate what the most important things in your life are.
And that comes
is
from calmness,
raising
your vibration,
choosing to be calm in moments. We have thousands of studies that stress is death, stress is death, stress is disease, stress is chaos, stress
So
causes
why are you
people to fight.
embracing it?
Yes. So, like, the number one thing when we look at divorces are that people were so stressed out that they couldn't talk to each other because they would fight, and the fights escalated to ridiculous things. And really, if you had taken some classes, learned how to calm yourself, you could learn how to sit at a table and have discussions to say, hey, so when you do this, I get super triggered because this happened in my life. And even though it's in the past, it still hurts me here. So maybe if we talk this way instead of this way, we can sort things out. And then your children learn, hey, they're having a conversation.
That's how we deal with things.
And that's how we deal with things. And then they repeat it instead of let's scream and yell and cry and sometimes throw things or do ridiculous things that, like, you'd be embarrassed in public if people knew you were doing that behind closed doors.
But your kids start
doing it, and then they're a jerk because they're treating you like a jerk because they've watched you be a jerk, and so they think it's okay.
Wow. Wow. we got to do another show on this. But as usual, we just zoom up through an hour. So tell everybody what your website is, where they can reach you, and how they can learn about everything we talked about today.
Yes, RebeccaPackard.com. You can access all my social media. You can access my YouTube, my blog, my podcast, everything from that space. And in September, you'll be able to access my book that's coming out.
And they can make appointments with you.
With me in that space, and I have digital workshops that are in that space. So at RebeccaPackard.com, RebeccaPackard.com.
I love it. Thank you so much. Always fun. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.